everyone, on this fine Tuesday morning. Welcome to another edition of Bunker Office Hours, a weekly live show brought to you by a team of Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran, military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping our ecosystem grow. I'm your host, the one and only Iron Mike Steadman, coming to you from the beautiful Newark, New Jersey, joined by my co-host, Amy Morrison, and our special guest to get today, Wilson Neyland, the credit card program executive at Hello Alice. So we know a lot of y'all need access to capital. Hello Alice is doing some amazing, providing some amazing support to entrepreneurs like yourselves. And so we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Amy to share any updates from the bunker.
Ooh, thanks, Mike. So kind of on the same vein as we've been the last couple of weeks. So applications for Veterans and Residents Program are still open. Where's that? And then that is through the end of the month. Applications are also open for our Breaking Barriers in Entrepreneurship program. And links will be in the chat as soon as I stop talking. And then also wanted to remind everyone that we have a veteran spotlight on Daniela Maisianik Young, an Army intelligence officer who grew up in a cult and is now like an inspirational speaker and just an all-around badass. So you can check that out on the blog. And that's kind of all the stuff that we got going on in the community besides the big topic today, the partnership with Hello Alice and the credit card situation, which we'll talk about.
All right. So, Amy, we got Veterans and Residents applications open, and Breaking Barriers are open as well.
Yep. Breaking Barriers are also open. Yes.
Listen, y'all, two great programs. You got to get plugged into this ecosystem. I know some of y'all are tuning in, might have some VR alumni, but these are great ways to start to build your tribe, build that professional network, and support one another. I am a VR alumni. We had Xavier on last week to talk about it. We've got some great programming with Breaking Barriers to get some of y'all from idea to invoice. So we got a lot of great programming available to you. But part of being an entrepreneur is having faith and taking that leap. And so if you are a good fit or you know someone's a good fit, please help us spread the word so we can keep supporting the entrepreneurial community through these amazing programs. Without further ado, Wilson, welcome to Office Hours. Such a pleasure to have you on today.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So where are you dialing in from?
I'm dialing in from Austin, Texas.
The beautiful Texas. I'm a Texas native, Bryan College Station, Texas A&M University. But we love our sisters up in Austin.
There you go.
So Hello Alice, talk to our viewers today about Hello Alice and what you guys are doing to create financial, to provide entrepreneurs with the capital and resources that they need to grow their businesses.
Sure. Hello Alice is a community of about 1.1 million small business owners. We focus on kind of what we call the new majority. In addition to veterans and military spouses, we also focus on women-owned businesses, LGBTQ plus owned businesses, people of color-owned businesses, and businesses owned by people with disabilities. So together, we put those together and call it the new majority. Certainly bigger than the old majority, and focus on helping those people really with everything small business, from financing to education to networking. In the past, I think a lot of people are familiar with us from the grants we administer for a lot of national grant programs, but we recently launched this credit card in August, and we're excited to bring that to you guys today because it's a great way to help small businesses build business credit and to have flexible financing and to kind of participate with our other members and learn from the sessions we do with our cardholders monthly.
So I want to give a shout out to everybody tuning in. Shout out Edgar. He says he's tuning in from Las Vegas. Ashley's excited to see y'all. Let us know in the chat where you're dialing in from today. So Wilson, I have a question for you. Sure. I get a lot of emails, whether it's from Hello Alice or Halcyon or some of these other organizations out there that are all serving the small business community. How does Hello Alice differentiate itself from some of these other programs our viewers may be familiar with?
I think Hello Alice kind of serves the entire spectrum of small business needs. We have education on a wide variety of topics, not just financing, but planning and forecasting, digital sales, all sorts of things. So I think we bring everything small business to our population. And I think we also bring the sense of community to multiple groups that have not had that community in the small business environment. So I think we're differentiated by the people we serve and kind of the way we work together. We're sort of a nonprofit for profit. I mean, we have a very focused team to our mission, dedicated to our mission. It's about 100 folks virtual all across the world who work for Hello Alice. And so I think the team dedication is awesome as well.
And what would you say is the one thing you do better than the rest?
I think listen to our customers and understand the needs and respond to that with products, education, and kind of direction. We're focused on really helping people build credit, I think, which is a differentiator as well, not just, have credit or have credit cards or get grants, but really learn how to improve your chances of getting those things approved and build your business and how to scale your business. So I think there are a lot of things that differentiate us from the others.
So let's talk about this credit thing. One of the things that you and I both know that when it comes to micro business owners, these are typically those businesses less than $1 million in revenue. And let's be honest, a lot of business owners might have less than 6 figures in revenue, particularly our makers, etc. So they're not going to go the traditional angel investment route, right? If they do seek capital, it's probably going to be some loan of some sort, either from a CDFI or a local community bank. And in order to get that loan, they need to be able to demonstrate that they have the capital, that they have the capacity, that they've got the credit, etc. And it sounds like what you all are doing are helping these business owners put themselves in the best possible position to receive these loans by helping them build their credit through your new credit card.
Absolutely. And I think, it's easiest to get credit when you don't need it, right? You've got money in the bank, you're ready to go. I think helping people understand, knowing what they have going in. I mean, credit score is sort of a necessary evil. It kind of is a differentiator across credit that lets lenders make decisions without other criteria that might skew the decisions. But a credit score is just a point in time, right? It's kind of a map, a product of where you've been. And we're trying to help people take that and move forward, look at where you're going, not where you've been. So, I think it's like kind of a cholesterol test. When you get your annual physical, right? If you've been eating pizza every day for 6 months, you're not going to be surprised when your cholesterol is really high. Same thing with credit scores. I mean, I think people generally know what in the past has sort of driven their credit score where they are today. I think a lot of people, though, don't know how to get out of that and improve the credit scoring. Credit scores fluctuate over time, literally monthly, from your behavior. So one of the best things you can do to improve your score is to make monthly payments regularly on any credit product. So with a credit card, for example, even if you just can make that minimum payment every month on time, the longer you clock on time payments, the better your score will get. So I think, credit card's an easy way in to kind of build that credit. And also it's good to build business credit separate from your personal credit. So separate your business expenses, just helps you organize and think more about your business holistically than if you kind of finance everything from one pool.
What intrigues me about what you all are doing is that you serve so many small business owners that you get a lot of data. And I'm sure you engage a lot of these business owners with surveys. And so I'm willing to bet that this credit solution was a market pull. So this was something that you were hearing over and over again from the small business owners that you were serving. Is like, hey, these grants are great. They're great for helping us jump off and start our businesses. But when it comes to growing and scaling and purchasing inventory, sometimes we actually need to take a loan. And a lot of it, like I said, these community banks, these CFIs, we're having trouble securing these loans because of our capital. So it sounds like you came up with a solution.
We did. And we look at the credit card really as a small line of credit for a business for their daily and monthly operating expenses to help kind of bridge those gaps. Again, also to build credit. So when you need those bigger loans, when you need inventory loans, you need to expand, you have a good credit history to base that additional lending on in the future.
So what's the differentiation between this Hello Alice credit card and a traditional small business credit card I would get from my local bank?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if you look at the market, all small business cards are pretty much the same. They offer you cash back if you spend a certain amount in the first 2 months. Then they offer points with redemption for either cash back, potentially gift cards. I think what really makes us different is I look at the card as sort of the key to the Hello Alice community. So on top of those normal benefits, which we also offer, you can use your points to redeem for cash back on your statement. You can use it for gift cards. We also allow you to pay for any of the seminars and things that we have on our site that could help you expand your business, like a boost camp, which we did recently, a 3-day boost camp, typically a $300-ish value. You can use your points to pay for that. So it costs you basically nothing to continue that business education. There are also monthly cardholder events. We do dedicated cardholder events monthly and content, which is really driven, to your point, by our research and what we hear from our customers. And so every month there will be something unique for cardholders, typically free, that gives them a chance to either talk to industry experts, talk to each other, or take a short class on something that will help them moving forward.
So for our viewers, please feel free to go ahead and drop a question either for myself or Wilson while we're continuing this conversation going, because you guys are out there on the front lines. We want to hear from you. You know, what challenges have you had around securing capital, and what questions you have for how, you know, this Hello Alice credit card can help. Now, one of the cool things, like you said, is there's these wraparound services. You guys provide business coaching, you provide community events. Can you share some more insight on the coaching?
Absolutely. With our card, you get 2 free one-on-one coaching sessions, and we have a panel of coaches that are experienced in various aspects of small business and entrepreneurship. So if you are, example, setting up a digital marketplace for yourself and just need help figuring out where to start, how to do that, we have folks that can help with that. If you're just trying to put your ideas together and figure out how to get funding or how to find investors, we have people who can help with that as well. So it's really like a one-on-one, almost business therapy session to really help you at where you are, right? So it gives you the opportunity of telling us, here's what I'm looking for, here's what I need help with, and we put you with the right advisor to do that coaching. It's been really successful. It's one of our most popular benefits, actually, and been really excited to get great feedback from both the coaches and the business owners. I think, you know, our coaches are very engaged in the program. They're very excited about small businesses. And so they're as excited as our members are.
Yeah, as a business coach, you know, it's entrepreneurship is hard, and people out there hooking and jabbing by themselves. They need someone to help them call an audible when they go to the corner in between rounds. And, you know, I like the fact that you all use coaching and not just technical assistance, because I feel like coaching is a universal term. You know, people can understand it, versus I feel like technical assistance is a little vague.
Yeah, and this is specifically tailored to what you need as a business owner. I think what you just said about not being alone is key in this space. I think many entrepreneurs feel isolated and alone and feel like the world is on their shoulders alone. And so we're here with our community to help shoulder that burden and to help you learn from best practices, from either from professional speakers or from your peers on the network or from our coaches. So I think it's you're not alone, I guess, is one of our main messages really for people in small business.
All right, Wilson, we got a question coming in. It looks like it's a fellow Marine, Eugene Oliva. Hi, Bunker, and hello, Alice. Thank you for providing this live info. What are the fees associated with the business card? Thank you.
Great question. There's no annual fee for the card. The interest rate is risk-based pricing, very standard for the industry. It's prime plus a margin, depending upon where you fall on the credit spectrum. There are no monthly fees. Again, there's cash back in the first 2 months or 3 months. If you spend $1,000, you get $100 back. That's an offer that's running right now. The points, you earn a minimum of 1.5 points per purchase, and bonus points in other categories to accrue points to spend on things like gift cards, cash redemption, and future seminars. So no annual fee for it ever, and we're committed to keeping that there.
You guys have been doing a lot of work within the veteran community and military spouse community. Shout out to Shelby Strong behind the scenes, formerly Shelby Nelson. Many of you in the bunker know her. Can you tell us some success stories about some of the entrepreneurs you've been working with?
Yeah, I actually was at South by Southwest a couple of weeks ago here in Austin, and we did a pop-up event just for our local members to say, hey, stop by. We bought ice cream for our members at a local small business, Amy's Ice Cream, here in Austin. And I really get to spend an hour or two just talking to people. And I think, you know, they felt heard. And I mean, people drove. We had 2 people that flew in for South by. They came straight from the airport to the ice cream booth just to say hello and thank you. A couple were grant recipients. A couple had been multiple grant applicants. They haven't gotten one yet, but they are still, you know, applying and using the other resources. So I think, you know, that people like that they feel supported. They feel a community truly around this product and this organization more so than other places. And they really do feel heard.
So you talked about the credit card. Can you share some more insights on the grants opportunities that are available?
Sure. We facilitate a number of national grants, typically targeted, obviously, at our focus groups of the new majority. And And those are done via standardized application processes as specified by the grantees. But we do a lot of deep dives and due diligence on approving those. We involve a lot of the team at Hello Alice in picking finalists and really trying to be as diverse and unique as possible in those awards, and really trying to help recognize the folks who can make most use of that money. And I think going into a grant, it's really important to know kind of how you want to use the money, what you need the grant for, not just I need money. I mean, I think knowing you need to buy inventory, you need to rent a bigger facility, you need to hire extra people. I think knowing that going in also improves your chances of getting a grant. But we've facilitated a wide variety of grants, really focused at the new majority.
Yeah, and I feel like when you think about the new majority, there's like a process, right? Like we come with this idea for a business, we vet that idea by getting paying customers and doing the pitch competitions, applying for grants, and then to the point you're supposed to reach that takeoff level, and then now you're in it, and now you got those cash flow issues and all that other stuff, right? That you want to de-risk, and so then you start making sure you have that credit card, right? Because you can save the world in 30 days. I try to tell people, but it's one thing to learn about this stuff. It's another thing to live it. And so that's why it's so important to have, that capital available to you from partners who understand the realities of what it means to be a small business.
That's right. And I think, we're working on a lot of new things, that some of which we can't talk about quite yet, but we have some new educational opportunities to really help you focus on building your business and help you focus on the diligence it takes to scale. I think there's kind of a fine line between hobbies and small business a lot of times, right? You do something you love, you're getting paid for it, and then all of a sudden you're in business. And so I think we are helping people to think about how to think of it as a business and not just a part-time thing for themselves. And so that's why we love what we do. I think we're engaged with very passionate people who love what they do. So it makes every day interesting.
For all our viewers, I'm telling y'all, Wilson's time is worth $10,000 a minute, and his time is running. So if you got a question for him, feel free to go ahead and drop it in the chat. I know a lot of y'all are thinking about jumping into this entrepreneurial journey, or you're already in it. You might be having some cash issues. So let's go ahead and ask Wilson. One thing I also think, and I've referenced this before, but the fact that you guys are serving so many small business owners, I can only imagine the insights and the data that you're getting from what the community actually needs, right? So, we've got the SVB banking situation that took place. People are stressed out about that, right? Inflation, stressed out about that. What are you seeing, like, at the ground level from entrepreneurs? Like, what is the biggest challenge they're facing currently, these micro business owners?
I think financing across the board and figuring out how to, I was at South by with people, and I was a judge at a small business pitch contest during South by, and we had the woman who actually won broke down in tears at the end. This was the weekend of Silicon Valley. She had just gone through round 2 investings and gotten $10 million to grow her business, and it was all in SVB. And so at that point, she thought, she had lost everything. So I think, being resilient and, building option paths and just understanding kind of different ways to keep going, because it's a challenge every day. And financing, I think, is the biggest challenge to that. Fortunately, obviously, she was made whole on her SVB deposit, and so it was not a sad story at the end of the day. But definitely.
And I'm willing to bet community too, right? Because we talked about it being lonely out there, having a community you can lean on. Whether you popping into a virtual event or going to grab ice cream in person, and then having, like you say, those coaches you can vet to.
Yeah. And I think, the funny thing about the ice cream event was I was there talking to the small business owners. They all stayed together, and they all spun off sort of on their own and just had their own little convention and talking about, what do you know about the sessions at South by? What free sessions are there? I mean, it's just a very resourceful community. And I think having all those people together in one place just generates a lot of energy, shared knowledge, and buzz, which is great.
Love it. All right, y'all, we're going to transition to our next portion of office hours, which is our book recommendations. Wilson, what book rec do you have for our viewers?
It's not a business book, but I recently was unpacking from a move, and I came across a book that I loved from the past, The Devil in the White City, Jonathan Larson, about the Chicago World's Fair and the serial killer at the same time. So it's a little bit twisted, but a fun read. And so I've just started rereading that last weekend.
Love it. I told y'all when you brought that book up, I remember getting assigned that book in high school. Back then, I wasn't really reading books. I was like, reading the Cliff Notes.
The older one, yeah.
Oh, Eugene, my man's got another question for us real quick.
Sure.
Any chance we can elaborate on bad debt versus good debt? I come across a lot of people that don't understand the difference. I'll let
Yeah.
you take the first pass.
I mean, I think, knowing what the terms and conditions are of any financing you get, understanding up front what you're getting into, and if it typically sounds too good to be true, it is. So be very careful. I think understanding fees, the question earlier about what fees go with the card, which there are none. Many times there are administrative fees that go with things. So do your diligence and understand what you're getting into. Sometimes, I think you have to go for higher rates just because it's your only alternative. But I think doing that, get the best of the worst options if you have to. I mean, do your research, go with reputable folks, go with, read your reviews, talk to your peers, and figure out. I think good debt is the kind you can repay and the kind that gives you what you facilitates your need. Bad debt, people will put you in debt as far as you're willing to go. And I think bad debt is unmanaged debt and kind of surprise debt. You find yourself over your head all of a sudden, have to dig your way out. I think so. Be responsible about applying, know what you're using it for, and go with players who have an interest in the community. Go with players who understand small business.
100%. I think it's also important to think about your industry, right? So I've said this over and over again. There's certain markets, certain business models that are notoriously hard, right? Low margin, you're fighting for scraps, right? It's going to be pretty hard when you start taking out loans. I mean, you really got to understand your unit economics. But I like to think about debt as leverage. So, for example, when I started Ironbound Media, I literally started with a laptop and a microphone and some basic podcast equipment, which is about $1,000 total. My first podcast product I sold was worth $10,000. Now, I was able to bootstrap. I didn't have to take out a loan, but you think about that. Taking out $1,000 loan, purchase $1,000 worth of equipment that I'm able to monetize and create a product of $10,000. That's good leverage. Bad leverage is, $1,000 and I only make 500, right? Yeah. I'm screwed out the gate, or 100 or whatever. So just really think about using debt as like a weapon, right? Yeah. I grew up in a community where, everyone had bad credit. So like I was terrified of credit cards, but then you become a small business owner and you realize like, listen, man, those net terms, net 30, net 60, whatever, you got to have healthy cash flow in your business at all times. You got to have cash to purchase inventory, equipment, and all these different things. And so, how many people carry a lot of cash around in our businesses? Right. Not a lot. So you have to sometimes start using those credit cards.
And people, I think, are typically afraid of credit cards, but a well-managed credit card that you understand what you're doing, what you're getting into, is a very flexible and helpful tool, not only for financing, but for building credit. And I would say, to leave you guys with one thing I think is important: know your credit score going in. Good, bad, and different. Don't beat yourself up. It is what it is. You know where you've been. You're going new places. So focus on ways to build that credit score before you need financing. So know what your score is. Work with us or similar folks to build credit education, to organize your finances. All of those things will help you build that credit over time, improve your score. So when you're ready for financing, you're ready for financing.
Ashley says she's retired from 35 years of SBA lending, and our content is spot on. One more question for you, Wilson. What is the limit on the Hello Alice credit card?
It varies by, credit approval. So the lines are a wide variety. We do offer a secured product as well. Just FYI, I should throw that in the event that people don't fall into the credit parameters that we have currently with our lender, First National Bank of Omaha. We do also offer a secured product. Although a lot of people are hesitant to look at secured cards, but frankly, it's sort of loaning yourself the money. So you put in a deposit and you borrow against that and repay it. It's a great way to build credit history. No fee for that product either. So in the event that you are, in that credit building zone, don't be afraid to go with the secured card as long as you're not paying a fee for it up front.
I'm taking a note to myself, y'all, because I'm going to tease out. I'm doing a podcast series for the Bunker on a crash course in entrepreneurial finance. That's a tentative name. So it's going to be a limited edition 5-episode series. And I'm marking a note to myself: good debt versus bad debt. I think that's an important topic for us to cover, particularly with this series targeted at the micro business owners out there. Now, what I want to do is I got to give my book recommendation, and it is Playing to Win: How Strategy Really Works by Roger L. Martin and AJ Lampley. I believe AJ was the former CEO of Procter & Gamble, Roger L. Martin is like a world-renowned strategist. Was the dean of one of the business schools in Canada, like won it like numerous awards and stuff, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things he says is strategy isn't planning, right? Everybody makes these plans, we throw them up on the whiteboard and we confuse it with busy work, as opposed to strategy is a set of behaviors and a goal we aspire to. And everyone is involved in the strategy, not just the leadership team. Every decision we make, how we talk about the company and stuff, is strategy. And as a brand strategist, I spend a lot of time behind the scenes writing strategy briefs, coming up with the strategy to implement with a lot of my branding and podcast clients. And he breaks strategy down into 5 things. Number 1, what is your winning aspiration? So what is that North Star? What's that BHAG you're working towards? Number 2, where will you play? And we think about that as like your category. So like, are you going to play in health and wellness? Are you going to play, in our case, in the lending space, in credit cards, right? Number 3 is what capabilities must be in place. Number 4, what management systems must be in place. And I can't remember the number 5th one. I'm about to punch myself in the head. But I remember it. There's 5, right? But again, when you start filling out these docs and you start breaking these frameworks down, good entrepreneurs use frameworks. They're not just winging it, right? Stuff has been used over and over again, peer reviewed. And I really like that Plan to Win framework because it keeps me grounded. And again, I'm implementing it with a lot of my clients. I apologize, I butchered the last one, but check it out. Plan to Win, how strategy really works. Another thing, got some great content coming your way with the Transition Podcast. If you haven't listened to Blake Shelton's episode from the Transition, we talk about the cost of doing business, you're missing out. That is a fire episode. I had a chance to see him in person at the Veteran Future Lab Summit in New York City. And we are just bringing amazing guests and speakers to you because I know a lot of you are tuning in to this show. You're spread out in the sticks. Some of y'all might be in North Dakota. You're not in these New York, you're not in these metro areas, but we still got content to support you. So make sure you're tuning into the Transition Podcast and you keep showing up for office hours. I want to acknowledge our sponsors for the Transition Podcast, which is MetLife Foundation. Without them, the podcast wouldn't be possible. And before we close out, we got a great relationship with Hello Alice. Wilson, would you like to leave our viewers with some words of encouragement
as
we close out?
Absolutely. Thanks. Community is really important. I think the community you have built at Bunker and the community at Hello Alice are very complementary. I just wanted to add, as a fact, in our partnership, for every account we approve through Bunker Labs, we will make a donation of $25 to Bunker to continue your mission as well, because we see ourselves in tandem helping folks to succeed. So use your networks. You can log into helloalice.com. It does not require applying for financing or a credit card. There are a lot of community resources there that can help any small business get started.
Love it. Until next time, everyone, peace, love, and have a great rest of your